A child doesn't decide they're bad at maths in one lesson. They decide it after being moved on, again and again, just before they were ready. We have built an education system in which children move in lockstep through age-related expectations set by someone else. But what if every child could move at their own pace? No one left behind, no one held back. Think about the last time your child came home and said they didn't understand something. Maybe it was fractions, maybe it was how to produce a piece of persuasive writing, maybe it was a topic in science that just didn't click. In most classrooms, the pupils move on anyway. Your child moves with them, carrying a small gap that's never quite closed. But that gap doesn't stay the same size, it grows, because the next topic builds on the one before. By the time a child reaches secondary school, what started as a small uncertainty has compounded into something much harder to shift. Mastery learning starts from a different premise. What if the pace adapts to the child rather than the child adapting to the pace? Most children labeled behind were never given the one thing that would have fixed it: time. As early as 1968, educational researcher Benjamin Bloom began to question the traditional model of moving children lockstep through age-related expectations. His conclusion was that time is the variable, not ability. Most children can learn most things, but the question is whether the system gives them what they need to do so. More recently, the Education Endowment Foundation has reviewed 58 studies of mastery-based learning and found that children who follow this approach make 5 additional months of progress on average, compared to children who follow traditional classroom approaches. Strikingly, the strongest progress is made by those children who were behind, not because they were suddenly more able, but because they were given what they actually needed: time and personalized support. Imagine 2 children learning about fractions. Child A grasps the concept quickly and is ready to move on within a few days. Child B understands the basic idea but is not yet fluent. They can follow the method when it's shown to them, but cannot yet apply it independently. In a traditional classroom, both children move on to percentages at the same time. Child A is fine. Child B now has to learn percentages on top of the shaky understanding of fractions, because percentages depend on fractions. The gap compounds. By year 5 or 6, Child B has stopped believing they're a maths person, not because they lack ability, but because the gaps were never addressed. A mastery approach interrupts that cycle at the point where it starts. Child A is ready to move on, and does, with harder problems that deepen understanding. Child B gets more time with fractions, a different explanation, a different representation, more practice. They don't move on until they're genuinely ready. And when they do, they move on securely. The effect on confidence is just as significant as the effect on attainment. Carol Dweck's growth mindset research shows that children who experience genuine mastery, who work through something hard and come out the other side with real understanding, develop a fundamentally different relationship with difficulty. Effort becomes the route to understanding, not evidence that they cannot do it. A child who's been moved on before they were ready learns a different lesson. They learn that some children just get it, and some children don't. And that belief is very hard to shift once it takes hold, and it takes hold earlier than most parents realize. Mastery prevents that story from forming. A child never experiences the particular damage of being moved on before they're ready. They experience something quite different: the satisfaction of working through something genuinely hard and coming out the other side. So how do you deliver mastery learning for every child simultaneously? This is the question that's always made mastery difficult to implement in a traditional classroom. If children are all at different points, how do you give each child what they actually need without the teacher being in 30 places at once? The honest answer is that without the right tools, it's very hard. And this is where adaptive learning technology, used well, changes the picture significantly. In fact, for the first time in the history of education, adaptive learning platforms are sufficiently mature to enable truly personalized learning at scale. Adaptive learning is not simply faster or slower versions of the same content. It's a system that identifies precisely where each child is, not just whether they got the answer right, but what their error pattern reveals about their understanding, and adjusts what it gives them in real time. If a child consistently makes a particular type of error, the platform identifies the specific misconception and addresses it directly. If a child demonstrates genuine fluency, it moves them onto harder problems that deepen understanding rather than simply repeating what they already know. The result is that every child is working at their genuine level of challenge, not the level of the child next to them, not the average of the class, but their own level. The child who needs more time gets more time. The child who's ready to go further goes further. Neither is held back by the other. At Inspired Edge Academy, mornings are built around 3 hours of adaptive, precision-guided learning. But let me be clear about what that does and doesn't mean, because the image of children sitting silently in front of screens for 3 hours is not what this looks like. Adaptive learning platforms give educators a continuously updated picture of where every child is, who is secure, who is struggling, where a misconception is forming. Our educators then decide what to do with that information. Imagine a typical morning. One group of children is working through a challenge on the adaptive learning platform, focused and largely independent because the work is precisely matched to what they're ready for. At the same table, an educator is sitting with 2 children who've just made the same error, talking them through it, asking questions until the misconception surfaces and gets corrected. Across the room, another educator is listening to a child read aloud, picking up on hesitation that the platform alone would never catch. None of this is passive. None of it is a child left alone with a screen. It's a room full of adults making constant, informed decisions about where their attention is needed most. The platform makes that human attention more precise. It doesn't replace it. Unlike a traditional classroom, parents and children at the Inspired Edge Academy also see a live dashboard of progress and attainment instead of a single grade. It breaks Year 3 maths, for example, into its actual components: number, geometry, measurement, statistics, and shows attainment in each one separately. Instead of asking, "How did you do this term?" and getting a single number or letter grade back, a parent sees each day how their child is getting on with geometry, and their child can see it too. Not as a judgment on how clever they are, but as a precise, honest picture of where they're strong and where they still have work to do. The next time your child comes home and says they don't understand something, resist the instinct to reassure them that it'll be fine and just move on. Ask instead, do they almost understand it, or do they not understand it at all? If it's almost, that's actually the most important moment. That's the point where a little more time, a different explanation, or a different way of seeing it will tip them into genuine understanding. That gap, closed now, will not compound. That confidence, built now, will carry forward. The question to hold on to is not, has my child covered this? It's, does my child genuinely understand it? Those are 2 very different questions, and the answer to the second is what actually determines what becomes possible next. The goal is not a child who's covered the curriculum. It's a child who understands it deeply, securely, and with the confidence that comes from having worked through difficulty and come out the other side. So just remember, children learn at different speeds, and that's not a problem, it's a fact. The traditional model ignores it, but mastery accepts it. I would say, remember that mastery reduces gaps and builds confidence, because children move on only when they're genuinely ready and not when the clock says so. And finally, I'd say personalized learning makes both support and acceleration possible. The same approach serves every child, whatever their starting point.